Hello there, fellow coin enthusiasts and collectors. Welcome back to the channel World Rare Coins, where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins that could be worth a small fortune. From hidden gems that could be worth a fortune to little-known coins with a rich history, we'll explore it all. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any of our exciting discoveries. And now grab your magnifying glasses and let's start our today's video. On Top 1 today, we're diving into the rich history and fascinating story behind one of the most iconic coins in American numismatics, the United States 1-cent coin from 1944. This seemingly ordinary piece of currency holds within it a legacy of wartime resilience, changing economic landscapes, and, for those who know where to look, a remarkable treasure that could be worth a small fortune. Let's travel back to the year 1944. A time that was both challenging and pivotal for the United States. The world was deep in the throes of World War II, and the American economy was undergoing rapid changes to support the war effort. The United States, like many other nations at the time, was heavily focused on producing materials for the war, everything from weapons to supplies for soldiers overseas. The demand for copper, which had long been used in coinage, was increasing dramatically. This meant that the U.S. Mint had to find alternative ways to continue producing coins without wasting valuable copper that was in such high demand. The solution came in the form of a coin that would become a symbol of both resourcefulness and American resolve, the 1944 1-cent coin. Unlike its counterparts from other years, which were made primarily from copper, the 1944 1-cent coin was struck from a mixture of copper and zinc-coated steel. This was a crucial adjustment made due to the wartime shortage of copper. As a result, the 1944 penny is often referred to as a steel penny because of its silvery appearance, which set it apart from the traditional copper pennies in circulation. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1944 1-cent coin. On the obverse, you'll find the well-known image of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, who continues to be one of the most revered figures in American history. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, this portrait of Lincoln had been in use since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. It's a symbol of leadership and unity, qualities that were crucial during the tumultuous years of the war. The reverse of the coin is equally iconic, with a design that showcases two stalks of wheat, which are arranged to form a bow. This design was introduced in 1909 to represent the agricultural foundation of the United States. The two ears of wheat are flanked by the words e pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, a phrase that reflects the unity of the American people. At the bottom of the reverse is the inscription 1 cent, and just above it, United States of America. The steel composition of the 1944 penny, while necessary for the war effort, presented some challenges. Due to the nature of the material, these coins had a tendency to corrode or become discolored more quickly than their copper counterparts. That's why, if you're lucky enough to find one in pristine or uncirculated condition, you're holding a true rarity in your hands. Most 1944 steel pennies that are still in circulation today are worn, tarnished, or have been damaged by exposure to the elements over the years. But every so often, a well-preserved example surfaces, and collectors take notice. That's where the value of this coin becomes truly fascinating. While the 1944 1-cent coin wasn't particularly rare when it was first minted, it was produced in the hundreds of millions. Its current value has skyrocketed due to its rarity and good condition. It's not just the general circulation coins that interest collectors. Special variants and errors make this coin even more appealing. For example, there are a few known examples of 1944 1-cent coins that were accidentally struck on copper planchets. These copper versions of the 1944 penny are among the most coveted and valuable of all U.S. coins. The fact that they were minted as a result of an error only adds to their allure and scarcity. A single 1944 copper penny can fetch an astonishing price at auction, with some examples selling for tens of thousands of dollars or more. But even a typical 1944 steel penny, in pristine condition, is worth significantly more than its face value. The interest in these coins is driven by the history they represent and the connection they have to a pivotal moment in the United States past. Coin collectors and investors alike seek out these pennies not only because of their historical significance, but also because they can be a solid investment. There's a certain thrill in discovering a coin like this. Whether you're hunting through old coin jars, scouring estate sales, or sifting through collections at a local coin shop, the 1944 1-cent penny is one of those treasures that keeps collectors coming back for more. And the truth is, many people have had these coins in their possession for years, perhaps never realizing just how much they're worth. If you're thinking about diving into the world of coin collecting, or if you already have a collection of your own, it's worth taking a closer look at the 1944 1-cent coin. Even though it may seem small or insignificant to the untrained eye, it could be the key to a major discovery. And remember, condition is everything. If you can find a 1944 penny in mint or near mint condition, it could make you a serious profit. So, here it is, the big moment you've been waiting for. You might have already guessed that this coin is worth far more than just 1 cent. If you have a 1944 1-cent coin that is in excellent condition, you could be looking at a value of up to $86,000. Yes, you heard that right, $86,000 for a single penny. So, the next time you come across an old coin from your grandmother's collection or find a dusty penny in your change jar, take a closer look. You might just be holding a treasure worth far more than its face value. On top 2, we're about to embark on a fascinating journey through history with one of the most captivating coins in American numismatics, the 1945 United States 1 cent. This coin, often overlooked by the casual collector, holds not just historical significance, but also the potential to unlock a treasure trove of value. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your collection, this video is going to give you all the details you need to understand why the 1945 penny is so special and why it could be worth far more than you think. Let's step back to the year 1945, a pivotal moment in world history. The end of World War II was in sight, and the world was bracing for monumental changes. In the United States, the economy was recovering, and the country's focus was shifting from wartime production to peacetime growth. The demand for copper had dropped, and the war had created a pressing need for resources to support the American military. During the war, the U.S. Mint had made adjustments to its coinage to accommodate shortages, but by 1945, it was back to producing coins in the classic metal composition. The 1945 penny is a direct reflection of this transition period. It was struck in the usual copper alloy, a return to pre-war standards after the wartime scarcity of materials. This year's coin would have been a familiar sight in the pockets of millions of Americans as they went about their daily lives, paying for goods and services in the aftermath of one of the most destructive conflicts the world had ever seen. What makes the 1945 1-cent coin so intriguing to collectors and investors alike is its connection to that post-war era. But there's more to this penny than just its historical context. Like all coins, it has a unique design that makes it stand out, and understanding its symbolism can really bring this piece of currency to life. The design of the 1945 penny was unchanged from the previous years of the 1940s, but it still carries the iconic imagery that has made it a staple of American numismatics for over a century. On the obverse, you'll find the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the word Liberty inscribed on the left. Below his portrait, the coin reads, "In God We Trust," a motto that has been a key feature of U.S. coins for decades, symbolizing the nation's religious foundation. To the right of Lincoln's bust is the date 1945, and below it, the mint mark indicating where the coin was produced. On the reverse of the coin, you'll see 2 stalks of wheat that form an arch, framing the inscription E Pluribus Unum, a reminder of the unity of the American people. At the bottom, the words 1 cent are prominently displayed, with United States of America surrounding the edge. The wheat ears represent America's agricultural roots and its importance in shaping the country's prosperity. This design was used on the penny from 1909 until 1958, and it continues to be cherished by collectors to this day. Now, let's dive into the minting details. In 1945, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies to meet the demand for small change in everyday transactions. This means that the 1945 1-cent coin was not particularly rare when it was first minted. However, what makes the 1945 penny special in today's market is its rarity and good condition. Over time, many of these coins became worn, tarnished, or damaged due to their heavy use. Finding a 1945 penny in uncirculated or mint condition is extremely difficult, and this scarcity is what drives the value of the coin in the market. In addition to the normal production run, the U.S. Mint also produced special versions of the 1945 penny, including those with a mint mark indicating where they were struck. Pennies minted in Philadelphia, for example, are unmarked, while those minted in Denver have a D mint mark, and those from San Francisco feature an S. Each of these variants adds an extra layer of intrigue for collectors, as they may be seeking specific versions to complete their collections. But what about the true value of the 1945 penny? While many of these coins can still be found in circulation or available for a few cents, the real prize lies in those that have survived in excellent condition. If you manage to come across a 1945 penny that is uncirculated, it could fetch a much higher price than the average penny. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents often focus on finding high-quality examples of each year, especially the 1945 issue, which is highly sought after. Now, let's talk about the most exciting part, the value of the 1945 penny. If you have one of these coins in exceptional condition, it could be worth far more than its face value of 1-cent coins that have been preserved in mint condition or are considered high-grade, can be sold at auction for significant sums. In fact, a well-preserved 1945 penny can be worth as much as $82,000. Yes, that's right. $82,000 for a single 1945 penny. This incredible value is not just a reflection of its rarity and top condition, but also the demand among collectors for high-quality coins from this particular year. So, if you have a 1945 penny sitting in your collection or tucked away in an old jar of coins, you might want to take a closer look. You could be holding on to a piece of American history that could be worth an astounding sum. Now that you know the fascinating history and potential value of the 1945 1-cent coin, it's time to get out there and start searching. Whether you're scouring your pocket change or looking through old collections, the next rare and valuable coin could be waiting for you just around the corner. So keep your eyes peeled and remember, it's not just about finding coins, it's about uncovering hidden treasures. On Top 3, we're about to take a deep dive into the fascinating story of the 1949 United States 1-cent coin, a true hidden gem in the world of numismatics. What may seem like just another penny to most people is, in fact, an extraordinary piece of history that could be worth much more than you might expect. The year 1949 was an important one in both American history and coin production. After World War II, the United States was transitioning from a wartime economy back to a peacetime one. The country was entering a new era of economic growth, and the population was beginning to feel the effects of the booming post-war economy. While life in the U.S. was becoming more stable, the production of coins, including the 1 cent, was still very much impacted by the remnants of the war years. During the war, copper was in short supply and was substituted with other materials, but by 1949, the country had returned to using the more traditional copper alloy for most of its coins, including the penny. The 1949 penny, like its predecessors, features a design that has become one of the most iconic images in American numismatics. At first glance, this small coin may not seem all that exciting, but as we'll see, the significance of the 1949 1 cent extends far beyond its simple appearance. This coin was produced at a time when the U.S. Mint was still refining its practices and technologies to ensure that its coins would meet the demands of a rapidly growing economy. The design of the 1949 penny is centered around the image of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Since its introduction in 1909, Lincoln's portrait has been a familiar and beloved image on the U.S. penny, making it one of the most enduring symbols in American coinage. The likeness of Lincoln on the obverse of the coin was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, and it's one of the most recognizable portraits in history. On the reverse side, the design showcases 2 stalks of wheat, symbolizing the importance of agriculture in the growth and prosperity of the United States. The wheat design, which was first introduced in 1909, remained on the penny until 1958 and has since become one of the most cherished designs among collectors. The phrase "e pluribus unum," meaning "out of many one," is also inscribed along the reverse, further reinforcing the message of unity and strength. While the design remains familiar, the 1949 penny stands out for its condition and scarcity. While the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in the post-war years, the 1949 penny holds a particular appeal for collectors due to its relatively low mintage compared to other years during the same period. In fact, there were certain variations of the 1949 penny that were minted in lower numbers, making them far more difficult to find today. And when it comes to rare coins, condition is key. Coins that have survived in exceptional shape are especially valuable. Most of the 1949 pennies that were circulated have been heavily worn over the decades, as these small denominations were in constant use. However, there are still examples of the 1949 penny that remain in uncirculated or high-grade condition. These coins are highly sought after by collectors who appreciate the rarity and significance of well-preserved specimens. As a result, the 1949 penny has become one of the more desirable coins in the Lincoln series, and its value has risen steadily over the years. For those new to coin collecting, it's important to understand that there are several factors that determine a coin's value. One of the most important factors is the coin's rarity. While the 1949 penny was minted in large quantities, certain versions or minting errors make certain pieces much rarer than others. For example, some 1949 pennies were struck in different locations, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Coins that bear the S Mint mark, indicating they were struck at the San Francisco Mint, are often in higher demand because of their lower mintage numbers. Another factor that can increase a coin's value is its condition. Coins that have been well preserved, with minimal signs of wear or damage, are worth far more than those that are heavily worn or corroded. A 1949 penny in mint or near mint condition is considered a true treasure in the world of coin collecting. Many collectors are willing to pay top dollar for coins in excellent condition, especially if they are rare or carry special characteristics. Minting errors are another element that can make a coin particularly valuable. While most 1949 pennies are fairly standard, there are a few rare examples of coins that have been struck with errors. These errors might include double strikes, off-center impressions, or misaligned dies. These coins are highly coveted by collectors because they are unique and can dramatically increase a coin's value. A 1949 penny with a minting error could be worth far more than a standard example, and some of these error coins have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Now, let's get to the most exciting part, the value of the 1949 1-cent coin. While most of these pennies are still worth only a few cents in their typical circulated condition, the value of a well-preserved 1949 penny in mint or near mint condition is significantly higher. If you happen to have one of these coins in excellent shape, it could be worth as much as $78,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $78,000 for a single 1949 penny. The demand for high-quality, rare pennies from this era has driven the prices of these coins to impressive heights. So, if you happen to have a collection of old pennies or come across a 1949 penny in your change, it could be well worth your time to carefully inspect its condition and check for any special characteristics. It's incredible to think that something as simple as a penny, a coin that we often overlook in our everyday transactions, can hold such immense value. But that's the magic of coin collecting. Hidden treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just beginning your journey, the world of rare coins is filled with surprises, and the 1949 1-cent coin is a perfect example of that. On Top 4, we'll be diving deep into the world of the United States 1-cent coin from 1950, a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but actually carries with it a rich history and potential fortune that collectors dream of discovering. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone just getting started, this fascinating journey will show you why the 1950 penny deserves a spot in your collection, and most importantly, what makes it such a valuable treasure in the world of numismatics. To fully understand the significance of the 1951-cent coin, we need to take a step back into the mid-20th century, a time when the United States was undergoing monumental changes. The year 1950 sits right in the heart of the post-World War II era. After the devastation of the war, the American economy was experiencing a period of growth and recovery. Factories were ramping up production to meet the demands of a thriving economy, and people were enjoying a renewed sense of prosperity. In the midst of this economic boom, the U.S. Mint was working tirelessly to meet the needs of a growing population, producing millions of coins every year to ensure there was enough currency for daily transactions. The 1950 penny is part of this post-war coinage, and it was minted with the same basic materials and design that had been used for decades. However, like many coins from this period, it's the rarity, condition, and historical significance that make the 1951-cent coin stand out. During this time, the U.S. Mint faced the challenge of maintaining a steady supply of pennies for circulation while still producing coins that had meaning and value. Though the design of the penny itself remained relatively unchanged from earlier years, it's the subtle details that make the 1950 version a coin worth paying attention to. The obverse of the 1951-cent coin features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which has been a symbol of the penny since 1909. This portrait was created by the talented sculptor Victor David Brenner, and it has become one of the most enduring and well-known images in American numismatics. Lincoln's likeness on the penny is not just a tribute to one of the most revered presidents in American history, but also a symbol of the values the country holds dear: freedom, unity, and strength. On the reverse side of the 1950 penny, you'll find the familiar design of two stalks of wheat, arranged in a way that symbolizes the agricultural roots of the United States. The wheat ears are flanked by the words "e pluribus unum," meaning "out of many, one," a phrase that has become synonymous with the nation's unity. This reverse design, which was first introduced in 1909, remained on the penny until 1958, making the 1950 penny an important part of this long-standing tradition. What makes the 1951-cent coin particularly intriguing is its production history. The U.S. Mint produced millions of these pennies in 1950, but only a small fraction of them are still in excellent condition today. Due to the high circulation rate of the penny, many of the 1950 coins have been heavily worn over the years, which means finding one in mint or near-mint condition is quite a rarity. The coins that have survived in pristine condition are highly prized by collectors, and they're what really give the 1950 penny its value. The condition of the coin plays a major role in determining its value. In the world of coin collecting, the higher the grade, the higher the price. Coins that are well preserved, with minimal wear and no significant damage, can fetch a substantial price on the market. For example, a 1950 penny in perfect, uncirculated condition could be worth far more than a typical coin from the same year that has been worn down by years of use. The scarcity of well-preserved examples, coupled with the coin's historical significance, is what drives its demand among collectors. But condition is not the only factor that can influence the value of the 1950 penny. As with many other coins from this period, there are subtle variations and minting errors that can make certain versions of the 1950 penny more desirable. For instance, there are some examples of the 1950 penny that were struck with a weak or double die, meaning the coin was imprinted with the design in an unusual way. These errors are relatively rare, and collectors often seek out coins with these unique characteristics, as they can dramatically increase a coin's value. Some of the most sought-after 1950 pennies are those that were minted in Philadelphia, while others are valued higher based on their mint mark. For instance, coins that were produced at the Denver Mint will carry a D mint mark, and those struck in San Francisco will bear an S mint mark. Mint marks help collectors distinguish between different variations of the same coin and can affect the coin's overall value. Generally, coins with certain mint marks are more desirable because they were produced in smaller quantities, making them rarer than others. Now, here comes the exciting part: the value of the 1950 penny. While the coin may have been produced in large quantities at the time, it's the scarcity of well-preserved examples that really makes it a treasure today. The 1951-cent coin is not worth just a few cents if it has survived in mint condition. In fact, a high-grade, uncirculated 1950 penny can be worth a small fortune to the right buyer. And if you're lucky enough to find a 1950 penny with a rare minting error or other distinguishing characteristics, it could be worth even more. Are you ready for the big reveal? A 1950 penny in excellent condition, or one with a rare minting error, can be worth as much as $74,000. Yes, that's right, $74,000 for a single 1950 penny. It's amazing to think that a coin so small and so commonly used in its time can hold such extraordinary value. So, the next time you come across an old penny in your collection or find one tucked away in a drawer, take a moment to inspect it. You might just be holding on to a rare treasure worth thousands of dollars. On Top 5, we're going to explore the fascinating history, design, and value of one of the most sought-after pennies in American numismatics, the United States 1-cent coin from 1953. It may seem like just another coin, but as we dive into its background and unique characteristics, you'll see why it's more than just pocket change. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know just how much this little penny could be worth today. Let's start by stepping back to the year 1953. It's a time in American history when the country was still in the post-World War II era, with the economy booming, families growing, and the world continuing to change rapidly. The United States was in the midst of the 1950s, a decade known for prosperity, innovation, and cultural shifts. It was also a period of great transition in the world of coin production. The 1953 penny comes from a time when the U.S. Mint was focused on providing the country with the necessary currency to fuel this booming economy. The penny, as a staple of everyday commerce, was being churned out in huge numbers, but the 1953 version of this coin holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. Why? Well, let's get into the specifics and find out. The design of the 1953 1-cent coin is one of the most iconic and enduring images in American coinage. On the obverse side of the coin, we see the famous portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which has graced the penny since 1909. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's image on the coin is not only a tribute to the man himself, but also a symbol of the nation's values: freedom, unity, and perseverance. This portrait is instantly recognizable and has become a piece of Americana that transcends generations. On the reverse side, we see the familiar wheat ears, a design that's equally beloved by coin collectors. The two stalks of wheat are a representation of America's agricultural heritage and its importance to the country's growth and prosperity. The E pluribus unum inscription beneath the wheat stalks adds a final touch to this meaningful design. The wheat penny, as it is often called, is a symbol of hard work, community, and the nation's resilience. But there's more to the story of the 1953 penny than just its design. The year 1953 holds a unique spot in the history of U.S. coinage, as it's a part of the post-war economic boom that shaped the mid-20th century. The Mint had been producing coins like the 1 cent in massive quantities to keep up with the growing demand. However, despite the high production numbers, certain factors make the 1953 penny stand out in terms of its rarity and value. First off, it's important to understand that coin collectors are very particular about the condition of a coin. Most pennies from the 1950s, including the 1953 penny, were heavily circulated and show signs of wear and tear. Finding a coin in perfect condition is incredibly rare, and it's that rarity that adds to the value of the 1953 penny. Over time, many of these pennies became worn down from years of being handled and spent, so finding one in mint or near-mint condition is a big deal. But the value of the 1953 penny isn't just based on its condition. It also comes down to scarcity. Although the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies in 1953, only a small fraction of them have survived in pristine condition. And even among those, there are certain variations that make the coin even more valuable. For instance, the 1953 penny was minted at different locations, and those with particular mint marks are more highly sought after than others. You'll often hear collectors mention the S mint mark for pennies struck in San Francisco, or the D mint mark for those struck in Denver. These variations can make a huge difference in the coin's value. When it comes to value, it's essential to keep in mind that rarity and condition are everything. Coins that are rare and in excellent condition will always be worth more than those that are heavily worn or damaged. So, if you happen to find a 1953 penny that has survived in uncirculated or nearly flawless condition, you may be holding a hidden treasure in your hand. Another factor that can increase the value of a coin like the 1953 penny is the possibility of minting errors. Over the years, there have been some examples of pennies from this period that were struck with flaws, whether due to misalignment, double strikes, or other mistakes during the minting process. These errors are rare but incredibly valuable to collectors because they create a unique piece that can't be found anywhere else. A 1953 penny with a minting error could be worth much more than a standard issue, making it a highly prized find. And now, let's get to the moment you've been waiting for: the value of the 1953 penny. You might be surprised to learn that while most of these pennies are worth just 1 cent in their normal circulated condition, a well-preserved 1953 penny can be worth a small fortune. In fact, if you have a 1953 penny in uncirculated or mint condition, or one with a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $70,000. Yes, that's right, $70,000 for a single 1953 penny. It's amazing to think that a coin, which might seem ordinary to the untrained eye, can hold such incredible value. The 1953 penny is a perfect example of how rare and valuable coins can be, especially when you factor in their historical significance, condition, and any special characteristics they might have. So, if you've got a collection of old pennies, or if you come across a 1953 penny in your spare change, be sure to take a closer look. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. As always, it's essential to check the condition of the coin, as well as any mint marks or variations that might make it a rare find. On top 6, we're diving into a special coin that may seem like just another penny at first glance, but it's actually a fascinating piece of history with a value that might surprise you. The United States 1-cent coin from 1954. It's amazing how a seemingly simple coin can hold so many stories and hidden treasures. Stick around as we explore the historical background, the design elements, and what makes this 1954 penny such a sought-after collector's item, with an impressive price tag you might not expect. Let's set the stage for 1954. It's a year that sits firmly in the mid-20th century, a time when America was experiencing a period of economic prosperity following World War II. The U.S. was growing rapidly, and the 1950s are often referred to as the golden age of American prosperity. People were spending, investing, and building new lives in the suburbs, and the country was flourishing in many ways. But for coin collectors, the year 1954 holds an extra layer of intrigue because of the unique qualities this penny brings to the table. The 1954 penny is part of a long-standing tradition of U.S. coinage. Since 1909, the 1-cent coin had been featuring the image of Abraham Lincoln, and this was a time when that iconic design was still going strong. The design of the 1954 penny is consistent with what collectors have come to expect from the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. On the obverse side of the 1954 penny, we find the image of President Abraham Lincoln, sculpted by artist Victor David Brenner. His portrait on the penny is one of the most well-known and recognizable coin designs in history. Lincoln's image not only serves as a tribute to one of America's greatest presidents, but also embodies the values the country holds dear: freedom, equality, and unity. It's no wonder that this coin and Lincoln's portrait has remained a symbol of national pride for generations. On the reverse side of the 1954 penny, we find the two stalks of wheat that are iconic in their own right. The wheat ears on the reverse side symbolize America's agricultural heritage, highlighting the nation's deep roots in farming and hard work. The words "e pluribus unum," meaning out of many, one, are also inscribed on the reverse, reinforcing the unity that is central to the American identity. This wheat design, introduced in 1909, remained on the penny until 1958, marking the 1954 penny as part of this celebrated series. But while the design of the 1954 penny is familiar and beautiful, it's the context of its creation that really makes this coin interesting to collectors. During this period, the U.S. Mint was producing large quantities of pennies to keep up with the needs of an ever-growing economy. Millions of pennies were circulating, and it's safe to say that the 1954 penny was a common sight in pocket change for many years. However, as time passed, many of these coins were worn down, damaged, or lost to history, making well-preserved examples increasingly rare. Here's where things get exciting. The 1954 penny is actually a highly collectible coin, particularly when you can find one in uncirculated or mint condition. Most coins from this era were in circulation for decades, meaning they experienced wear and tear from handling, which makes finding one in pristine condition a challenge. The better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it becomes. And if you happen to have one that's still in near-perfect shape, you might just be holding onto a hidden gem worth much more than its face value. So, what makes a 1954 penny stand out from others in the same series? Like with many coins, it's all about rarity and condition. Most of the 1954 pennies that were produced were used extensively in daily transactions, which means they likely show signs of wear. But if you're lucky enough to come across one that has been preserved in exceptional condition, it could be worth a significant amount of money. Coins like these, free from the usual wear and tear, are much rarer and can command higher prices at auctions or among collectors. As with most coins, the 1954 penny was minted in multiple locations, including the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Depending on where the penny was struck, it may have a mint mark that helps identify it. For example, if the coin was produced in Philadelphia, it will have no mint mark, whereas coins from the Denver Mint will bear the letter D, and those from San Francisco will have an S mint mark. Some collectors place a premium on coins from specific mints due to variations in production numbers, with some mint marks being rarer than others. In addition to mint marks, there are also certain features and flaws that can increase the value of a coin. For example, some 1954 pennies were struck with imperfections, such as die cracks or double strikes. These errors are rare and highly sought after by collectors, as they make the coin even more unique and valuable. Finding a 1954 penny with a minting error could be your ticket to an even bigger payday, as these error coins are among the most desirable in the coin collecting world. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the value of the 1954 penny. While the standard 1954 penny in circulated condition is worth only a few cents, the value of an uncirculated or near-perfect 1954 penny can be much higher. If you happen to have a 1954 penny in pristine condition or one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a coin worth as much as $66,000. Yes, you heard that right, $66,000 for a single 1954 penny. It's incredible to think that something so small could hold such immense value. If you've come across a 1954 penny in great condition, or even if you've inherited a collection of old coins, it's definitely worth taking the time to inspect them closely. The value could be much higher than you think. Before you go rushing to search through your pockets and coin jars, remember that not all 1954 pennies are worth thousands of dollars. The key factors that affect a coin's value are its condition, rarity, and any unique features or errors it might have. But even if you don't have a mint condition 1954 penny, it's always fun to learn more about the history and value behind these incredible pieces of American numismatic heritage. On Top 7, we're going to explore the United States 1-cent coin from 1957, a seemingly simple penny that has a lot more to offer than meets the eye. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just curious about what makes certain coins so valuable, this 1957 penny is bound to spark your interest. To begin, let's take a step back in time and look at the year 1957. It was a pivotal year in American history, marked by the end of the 1950s economic boom and the growth of the nation's global influence. The post-war era had brought about significant changes in the way Americans lived and interacted with the world. At the same time, the U.S. Mint was working hard to keep up with the growing demand for coins. The 1957 penny is part of that rich history, and today, it's a key piece in the world of coin collecting. The 1957 penny is part of the long-running series of Lincoln Memorial pennies that have been in circulation since 1909. In fact, this penny was struck as part of the series that featured the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, which was first introduced in 1959. The Lincoln Memorial pennies are some of the most iconic coins in American history, and the 1957 penny is no exception. On the obverse side of the 1957 penny, you'll find the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, sculpted by Victor David Brenner. This portrait has graced the penny for over a century and is one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. Lincoln, who is celebrated for his leadership during the Civil War and his role in ending slavery, is a symbol of American ideals. The image of Lincoln on the penny is not just a tribute to a great man, but a reminder of the values that the United States was built upon. Now, let's take a look at the reverse side of the 1957 penny. For most of its history, the reverse side of the penny featured the iconic wheat stalks, symbolizing America's agricultural roots. The design, which first appeared in 1909, features two stalks of wheat with the words E pluribus unum and United States of America around the edges. This symbol of agriculture and unity made the penny an important reminder of the nation's hardworking spirit. However, after 1958, the wheat design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, which would become a symbol of the nation's history, progress, and strength. The design of the 1957 penny is beautiful, but its significance goes far beyond the artwork. As we move into the mid-20th century, the world of coin collecting was becoming more and more popular, and the demand for certain coins began to rise. While the 1957 penny was produced in huge quantities by the U.S. Mint, it's the condition of the coin that ultimately determines its value. Like many coins from this era, the 1957 penny was circulated widely. Pennies were used in everyday transactions, and most of them showed significant wear and tear over time. But here's where it gets interesting. If you're lucky enough to find a 1957 penny in excellent or uncirculated condition, it can be worth much more than you might expect. The key to a coin's value is often its rarity, and the 1957 penny is a perfect example of this. Over time, many pennies were worn down by being passed through countless hands or lost to the ages. But the coins that managed to survive in near-perfect condition are extremely valuable to collectors. If you happen to have a 1957 penny that has been kept in pristine condition, you might be holding on to something quite special. One of the interesting things about the 1957 penny is that it was struck at several different U.S. mint facilities, which gives rise to variations that collectors seek out. The primary locations where these pennies were minted include Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. For example, a penny struck in Philadelphia will have no mint mark, while one struck in Denver will have a D, and one struck in San Francisco will feature an S. These mint marks help collectors identify where the coin was produced, and in some cases, certain mint marks are rarer than others, further increasing the coin's value. But what truly makes the 1957 penny special to collectors are the potential minting errors and unique features that can increase its worth. There are several different types of errors that can occur during the minting process, from double strikes to die cracks, and these errors are prized by collectors because they make the coin one of a kind. If you happen to find a 1957 penny with such an error, it can dramatically increase its value. Now, let's get to the most exciting part of this video: the value of the 1957 penny. While most pennies from this era are worth only a few cents, if you happen to have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, the value can skyrocket. Coins like these, particularly those with minting errors, are incredibly sought after by collectors and can command impressive prices. A 1957 penny in excellent condition could be worth as much as $62,000. That's right, $62,000 for a single 1957 penny. It's incredible how a coin that was once spent in countless transactions could become such a valuable collector's item today. If you have a collection of old pennies or happen to find a 1957 penny that's in great condition, it's worth taking the time to examine it carefully. You may just have a hidden treasure on your hands. To wrap things up, the 1957 1-cent coin is a great example of how a piece of history, even something as simple as a penny, can have so much more to offer than what you'd expect. From its iconic design to its rich historical context, and of course, its potential value today, the 1957 penny is a true gem in the world of coin collecting.